folks, and welcome to a Thursday night this week, not Wednesday night, Thursday night, Techthusiasm live podcast. It's been a couple of weeks, got quite a lot to catch up on. More tech, I would say, and maybe a little less home theater, but a whole bunch of topics, things that I've been researching, things that I've been kind of adding to the setup, new things to review and play around with per the last couple of videos that hit the channel. Still having fun with the madVR. Talk a little bit about that tonight. And yeah, kind of just hang out and catch up. As you're coming in, please hit the like button. As you're coming in, sound off in the comments. Let me know who's out there. Let me know if you've done anything interesting or significant with your tech in the last couple weeks. Yeah, I think it's been 3 weeks since the last live. I'm working on it, trying to get video production back up again. Just a lot of things happening, a lot of things going on, competition for time and all that, but definitely not going anywhere. So stick around for a flow of content and a whole bunch of stuff coming as we'll talk about in this plan tonight. So a couple quick shout outs. Welcome Julius, bunch of regulars, bunch of members. Thanks so much for the support, membership support, and all of that. Spiffy, welcome. Sammy, hello. Glad to hang out for a bit. Yeah, the cybersecurity industry is insane with the layoffs. Tech layoffs are happening still very regularly, all around. So not, I think there's not even tech layoffs, but layoffs as kind of our U.S. economy and system goes in a bunch of different directions at the moment. But so yeah, welcome again, everybody. Thanks for coming out. And if you got topics, questions, interesting things going on with your systems, with your tech, sound off and let me know. A couple of cool things that have been happening. I think actually it happened before, but I even forgot to mention it when we were on the last live. But the channel broke through 15,000 subscribers. So lots of you folks out there, hopefully finding value and interest and some fun, engagement, sharing cool home theater and tech hobbies together. So I really appreciate that. Thanks everybody so much for that. Reminder, of course, that in the last month or so, I've added a bunch more affiliates. So in addition to the kind of the stalwart audio advice, there's Best Buy, Target, Amazon remains, Newegg. If you're building some PC and buying some non-home theater tech, please do click through those links. Really easy thing to do. Really appreciate it. And helps out a lot because I'm building up a list of things that I want to do this year. Again, we'll talk about some of those here in a moment, but it's all basically based on the channel revenue and channel support and all of that. So is what enables me to get a hold of more stuff and come and talk about it and share the experience and all that. So on the home theater side, it's been fun. We've got a few movies in. If anybody is even remotely an X-Men fan, even if you're not a fan of animation, I recommend checking out X-Men 97. I talked a little bit about that last time. I just remain floored by every single episode. Definitely, it's like what I'm looking for after the kids go to bed and just chilling every Wednesday night. It's been a long time since I felt a push to keep up with the show week by week, but man, it's been nuts. The Battle of Genosha a couple weeks ago was just insane, and even what they've done in the couple episodes since. We had the opportunity for a couple family movies. We caught Kung Fu Panda 4. Gotta love the Kaleidoscape, man. Watching movies that I believe are still in theaters, but that was awesome. I really like the Kung Fu Panda series. It's probably one of my favorite animated series. I think they did pretty good with the fourth one. Kind of closed up the story of the main character. I think if they're going to do more, it'll have to switch over now to the new Dragon Warrior, or the character that would probably be the new Dragon Warrior. But looked great, sounded great. Of course, bought the pre-order, auto downloaded via Kaleidoscape, was ready to go, and enjoyed that one with the family. And we've continued our slow march kind of into the MCU with the kids. We did Hulk the other night. The Incredible Hulk, the Ed Norton one, of course, that's part of the second movie in the MCU release timeline. So it's interesting watching the MCU again, kind of from the beginning, and kind of rejudging the movies, knowing a little bit about where the whole thing goes to, and kind of ends up at least through the first three phases in the core Avengers stuff. But I think everybody generally liked Hulk. They liked Iron Man more than Hulk. The kids did, and I think I would tend to agree with that. It's also, I think, a little interesting. These first couple MCU movies, while they were still under Universal, are much more, I think, a little more adult. So we're pushing it a little bit on my youngest age, and the content of the movies. Hulk had its moments, and Iron Man did too, where we're definitely like, it's a little on edge. Maybe we could have waited a little bit more, but there's so many movies, and once you get past the first couple, um, once you get the past couple, I think it tones down a little bit, and I think they realized kind of the audience catered a little younger. The audience was a little age wider and whatnot. So of course, both of those were Kaleidoscapes. Kaleidoscape not that long ago had Hulk pulled and then re-put back into the store. I think as some rights solidified and made it available kind of fully under the Disney banner and all that. So I did pick up the upgrade there. Yeah, Rob, this is interesting too. Yeah, the Scissor by Target following Best Buy. Was it end sales for good? I thought one of the stories that I saw said it was they were taking stuff out of the store except for like marquee titles at some marquee times or whatnot, and the rest may go online. I didn't follow up on reading too much about it because I'm not really buying physical media, but I think we'll continue to see more and more of that niching down of the physical media hobby as production is kind of niched down to a couple of specific makers, providers, and disc masters. The distribution will probably also kind of follow suit, and still don't think it'll go anywhere for quite a while. But if it specializes to online retailers, getting that stuff out of the floor space of the stores, I wonder. Walmart's pretty much the next big one, right? So it'll be interesting to see if they're the third one to follow suit behind the other two. But yeah, definitely big news in the hobby. And another shout out. Hey, Michael, how's it going? So continuing to watch some other stuff. We're busting through Lego Masters. We have 2 more episodes, and I can unsubscribe to Hulu. So I was hoping to be done with Hulu before our April billing, but we didn't quite make it. So one more month, finish up that show, and then I'm gonna cancel the Hulu. I've still kind of been on a bit of a track to reduce the streaming content that I subscribe to, because other than like doing some videos for bit rates and stuff on the channel, and I think I've kind of shown a lot of that, something that I can just like check in on every once in a while. I won't unsubscribe to everything. Keep an Apple TV Plus because I subscribe to Apple One anyway. Still have Max because I get that free with my cell phone plan at AT&T. Keep Disney Plus because I want the Marvel and Star Wars and content and stuff that they have. But I think I may pull back that far. I realized I had done a year subscription to Paramount Plus, and I'm only like 6 months into that. But I got it so cheap that it's kind of like whatever. But I don't expect to be renewing that. I think, yeah, though, AT&T is actually trying to get people on another level of plan that doesn't have Max anymore. So I need to check that out because I got like feel like recently I got to look at it, but I got another email from AT&T that's like, hey, let's take up the plan under this name, and it'll be another like $10 cheaper or something like that. And I'm pretty sure that Max is one of the cuts to help them save the money to offer the lower price plan. I still have Peacock. I'll let Peacock go when the WWE gets to Netflix, which I think is supposed to happen in the new year. And I've even considered getting rid of Netflix for a little while as well. But as soon as the WWE hits Netflix, I would pull back to Netflix regardless. So, and even this year, there may be a couple other Netflix things that we might want to watch. I don't know when the next season of Stranger Things is due, but anyway, we'll be done with Hulu here shortly. Couple more Lego shows. I did watch the Batman and Bill documentary. If you're remotely interested in the business and the history of comics, that was really interesting. There's so much creator rights things that transpired back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s and stuff, where a lot of people got kind of weaseled out of their due rights as creators and the monetary benefits to be had over the decades as these characters got so big and like such standouts of popular culture. So that was really interesting, Batman and Bill. If you're aware of the name Bob Kane, and you think that he created Batman, there's a lot more to the story than that. So check it out. And then I did start watching Monarch, although admittedly, I watched the first episode a little too late at night. I think I slept through most of it. So I wanna pick back up and shoot through that one, hopefully, because we got the Kong versus Godzilla movie coming. That's actually one of the more recent movie series that I'm actually up to date on. And then Godzilla minus one, which I need to figure out exactly. I wonder if that's going to come to Kaleidoscape, or it should have come to Kaleidoscape already. I need to definitely make sure that I get a watch of that as soon as it's available, or in short order down in the theater. So yeah, Rob's saying no matter, still holding on to my Laserdisc. It's an antique at this point. Yeah, Spiffy, have you seen Fallout? No, so Fallout's getting a lot of positive sentiment as well. I've never really played any of the games. We played a little bit of Fallout Shelter because we actually discovered Fallout Shelter because it's in the Tesla, but not a major fan necessarily of the franchise, but the show is supposed to be great. That one and the other one I think is Shogun is the one I hear people talking a lot about. So I'll put them on my list. We should be getting another season of The Boys coming up here soon as well. Yeah, so actually been enjoying some home theater content, which is pretty cool. Let's see. So the general tech stuff. So one of the main topics for tonight is kind of these other supporting home theater supporting tech items that we've been playing around with. I did in both occasions where we watched the movies Kung Fu Panda and Hulk. I did keep an eye on the sensor. I still got the temperature sensor sitting, one in the closet and one on top of the home theater rack. And so the whole projector in the closet setup is working quite well. Happy with that. Nominally, it's about 60 degrees down there. After a 2-hour movie, it's about 70 degrees, pretty reliably. 2 hours later, with the projector running, it goes up to about 70. It might continue to go up if I left it on for a significantly long period of time, but we're in there for the movie and then we're out, and it cools off nicely after that, so that's pretty good. I'm really drawn to wanting to do something on the projector front. The madVR is definitely looking great, but I really want to have a HDMI 2.1 120 hertz capable projector, I think, to maximize the madVR, and specifically tinkering with the motion AI. I think I've really become accustomed when running, having a projector that's basically 60 hertz. It can't do 48 and it can't do 120, which means it can't do a clean frame repetition of a movie of a 24 hertz signal. I think I've really taken to noticing a bit of the stuttering, even in the motion AI. It just, those frame rate combinations don't say maximize the capability of what motion AI can do. So and now that I've seen a little bit of that element of it, once you start to see that, you can't unsee it. So I'm very, my desire is picking up more. So like, oh, maybe should I just go with an NZ? But I really want to try to wait it out until September, until Cedia, and see what's going on the projector front. But at least until now, too, Sony didn't announce anything. They announced their TVs and stuff, but there hasn't been anything new about projectors. So we'll see. I did put out the video. What was it? Was it last week? About madVR and the black bar detection and the subtitle management. So hopefully that explored that topic in pretty good detail for anybody that wanted to kind of see that working and understand what the video processor does when it comes to identifying subtitles and information outside of the movie content space and being able to snap down and snap up and some of the settings and configuration around that. Definitely a lot of power when it comes to that, and it's really great to have that in a projection setup, a scope projection setup, where you're zooming in and you're filling up the image with picture, and then you get that information off the screen. And I did the video both, not even just about subtitles, but the other thing I think that a lot of folks don't think about, which is the menus and the controls that are part of overlays and whatnot that pop up off the screen. So the Apple TV is a perfect example of that situation and that setup. So I'm still planning to do more madVR stuff. Probably one of the next things I might take a look at is trying to do finally the HDR tone mapping comparison. I have the cable, the second cable, so if I need to get the system fully connected, get it wired, um, and then be able to run like HDMI 1 with madVR tone mapping, HDMI 2 with JVC tone mapping, and at least be able to flip inputs fairly quickly back and forth on some key scenes and whatnot. And I'll probably end up making a video around that kind of comparison and the technical deep dive of the differences between the two. Hopefully, some of the differences resolve either in video or in photos. I'm sure the impact will be different watching it in motion in person uh, than in still images in that. But we'll see where that goes. I've still contemplated doing a madVR live stream, but I'm not sure. Last time we tried to do that, we did it with the Lumigen, and the downside is to demonstrate a lot of this stuff. Yeah, we have to show like moving video, and then that's just going to lead to copyright strikes and takedowns. And if anybody was on there last time when Chris and I did the Lumigen, we actually got blacked out for a few minutes, and so we came back on. So I think it's a little easier to show all that stuff in produced videos where I can blur and pause and focus in on blurring the stuff that would get the video flagged, but keeping the other things on screen that are of interest for the specific item. So we'll see where that goes coming up. So the other thing that I've been playing around a bunch with here lately has been NAS's. Let me get the right view there. So this was pretty cool. Ugreen had reached out about doing an overview, checking out their new NAS Sync series. And as I mentioned it in a couple of last videos, I think a NAS is a really vital piece of a home technology setup, including a home theater setup, because a lot of folks are storing media, regardless of what that media may be. It may be ripped content off a disk. It may just be home media, family photos, family movies, music, right? Depending on what kind of music you're keeping and storing, or other read or other types of media. So I've been a NAS user for a long time, and I think it's a really cool device. I so much prefer using a NAS versus a built computer as like a file server. And part of that's because like our computers now here are so packaged. I've fully embraced a laptop as my main computer, and so I don't want a whole bunch of stuff hanging off it or storage or whatnot. And if I have storage attached to this, then other people in the household can't get to it. My wife's computer right over here is a little Intel NUC mini PC. And actually, I think this year she's probably due for a computer upgrade. And I'm thinking just to get her actually onto a laptop as well. So what I'd like to do is we actually put in this little power charging station here. I picked up one of these Ugreen item as well. They're predominantly known for docks, charging solutions, port replication, stuff like that. So this thing worked really nice. This wasn't anything provided or part of any review, but I picked it up, and I picked up one of those like slotted wood charging kind of stations where you can put all your tablets and your laptops and stuff in there. So I'm working towards a setup where we keep all of our iPads, the family computer, my wife's computer, all over there, and then get a nice like Thunderbolt dock port replicator, and that'll do Ethernet and it'll do HDMI to the display. It'll have all kinds of USB ports and stuff like that. And I want to build this area up as a bit more of a production space. So I want to get more of a real kind of recording microphone, maybe a better camera, and get that all set. Get off of using the laptop in front of me and just embrace kind of my 43-inch display that I use as my PC display, get back to a real keyboard with a numpad element and a mouse, not just only using the trackpad. So I definitely, check out the video. I think they have a really nice piece of hardware that I think is should grow nicely with software. It covers a lot of the bases that you would want out of a NAS, I think, pretty well right out of the gate. I think it's definitely stronger on the hardware side than the software side, but that's what you would expect from any new kind of product or product line like this. And they're still running pretty significant discount, like 35% off for while the project is still in its like kind of Kickstarter phase. As you can see here, they pledge a $20,000 goal and they sold 6 million in pledges. So this is obviously a segment of technology that people are interested in. So man, maybe their hardware is right for you. I like how they did more advanced networking. Depending on which model of NAS it is, there is some slight differences in to how large of an array it scales to, like how much RAM you can scale it to, some of the I/O, and then some of the network connectivity. But it's the network connectivity that's got me really thinking a lot. And I've actually already ordered some of the stuff to kind of upgrade the house. I was already starting to think about network improvements going back to when Kaleidoscape released the Terra Primes last fall. But I'm finally going to take some steps to upgrade this. And we'll talk a little bit about that plan here tonight as well. Julius is asking, can the Ugreen NAS play 4K movies? So some models can. The DXP 4800 Plus, which is what the 4-bay model that I have right now, is has an HDMI port. I don't know the specific capabilities of it, but and you can see actually it's right here. It's rated as 8K HDMI, so that should mean it's HDMI 2.1, and should be. But I don't know the details of their player, the player software that's built into the NAS to do that. So that would be something to kind of maybe even explore a little bit separately. Maybe an idea for a follow-up video. So. Mitchell 245, welcome. Have you tied any of your NAS data in the movie section on your Control 4? No, I haven't. I kind of see that as like an old school path to playing content. And in fact, I don't think I've, except for maybe in the very, very beginning of my Control 4 system, I haven't had HDMI like output of my Control 4 controller connected to any part of my system. I've never used the on-screen Control 4 display. I think that was maybe more useful many years ago in the platform, maybe when like remote and some other accessibility things, and we didn't have more of the technology and content access advancements that we have today. So no, I've never done it. I know they can do some, historically, I understand you can do some interesting things like having Control 4 UIs be a front end for like a Dune player or something like that. I'm not sure if that's even like a current element, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing anything that way today. I think there's better apps like Plex in particular, or Infuse if you're in the Apple ecosystem, than anything that Control 4 would present and operate for the movies. Or if you're able to make a move into something like Kaleidoscape or whatever, then it becomes moot. You wouldn't want to have like the Control 4 UI be the front end for any like Kaleidoscape purpose. You just use their device and their software. Michael saying, yeah, used K hardware is dried up. Do you mean dried up in terms of like nobody's selling anything, or like nobody's buying anything? I haven't really looked. I had a couple of conversations with folks maybe considering getting into the ecosystem with like the used StratOS path, which I think is still a really good option. And those seem to be pretty decently priced, attainable on the secondary market right now. But other than that, I haven't paid too much attention. Kaleidoscape's been really quiet. I think we talked about this a little bit last week, or last live stream. The big news was that they were going to launch their like commercial cinema Endeavor, which I think is really smart. And then, of course, they did a slightly larger Terra. But we're already here at the end of April. We haven't heard anything about new Stratos or whatnot yet. The flow of content to the store remains pretty good. So, yeah. Oh, everybody bought what was out there. Haven't seen much more come up for sale. Yeah, I think the used market for K does do that a little bit. It kind of ebbs and flows. There is only so much out there, and sometimes it feels like there's a lot, and then people buy it up, and then it stays quiet for a while. Julie says, does Ugreen have the Plex app? I did not see a native Plex app loadable within the Ugreen. I would suspect that will be a key app for them to get. There is like an app, not a store per se, but like an app distribution piece, much like what Synology has as well, where third-party elements and whatnot are added in. But it's pretty, let's say, small, to be frank, at the moment. It's really only full of like Ugreen developed apps, which some of them are pretty good. They did photos as an app. There is like I think their own media player or something showed up as an app. But I didn't see Plex or much third party in there yet. Granted, the device is still it's not shipping wide scale to customers yet. They're engaging with folks for kind of pre-overviews, pre-reviews, and whatnot. So I would certainly expect all of that stuff would come. They're definitely making money here, and putting money into building this out as an offering amongst all of the devices and stuff that they manufacture. So Plex would be a slam dunk, and I would have to imagine it'll come. But there's that store is not fully kind of built out yet. Other stuff that they certainly need. One of the things I love about Synology, and I use on my Synology, is the Cloud Sync app. So like my OneDrives and other things like that can sync down to the NAS, and then those can be shared and accessed. So there's a few key apps that I use on Synology that I would definitely like to see come to the Ugreen store in time. So I did the video as well. I think it was the one that came out just this past Monday about upgrading my Synology too. So playing around with NASs, talking a lot about NASs, and doing a lot of NAS things in the background had me go ahead and want to try out some upgrades for the first time. I've been using that DS1821 Plus for quite a while, and just stock. So stock, it's only 4 gig of RAM, and of course there's no SSD storage in it, and it only has gigabit Ethernet for 4 ports that you can bind together, but it's still only gigabit speed per each port. So that's where I like what Ugreen did. They pushed this a little bit more. The model that I got from them, it's like 8 gig of RAM instead of 4. I think it's got a improved, newer generation processor. Of course, the 21 is 3 or 4 years old now at this point. But they put 2.5 and 10 GBE network ports on the Ugreen models. So that's all attainable on the Synologies. But so I went and I dropped 32 gig of RAM in there, 2 16 gig sticks. That's the maximum that it's spec'd to support. And I put a 1 terabyte Samsung SSD in as a cache drive, a read cache only. You have to have 2 SSDs to do a read-write cache, and I'm not too worried about the speed of writing to it as I am about the speed of accessing when we have like big photo libraries and lots of picture files and folders and stuff like that. And so far, I think I appreciate the upgrade in terms of like accessing a folder just on my Mac and waiting for everything to kind of load and the thumbnails to render and populate. I'd say that's significantly faster, happily, nicely, usability wise, significantly faster than it was before. So that was pretty good. For about $200, I think those upgrades for a device that everybody in the household uses and accesses, and sometimes multiple members of the household are accessing it at the same time, it was worth the price, and I would definitely look to do that in the future. The next thing to do there is, of course, or not of course, but the next thing that I'm planning to do in conjunction with the networking upgrade is get the Synology upgraded to 10 GBE. And so I've done the research on it. Basically, according to the compatibility list and whatnot, Synology does make their own, say, advanced or faster network cards, but they're more expensive. They're like 250, 270, uh, roughly. There's a single, I think it's a single 10 GBE with an RJ45 connector that's like 150 bucks. And then the other three cards are dual ports. Some of them are fiber, some of them are RJ45, but they're all like close to 300 bucks. But doing the research and reading Reddit and other owners information, the Synology is very compatible with third party network cards. And so I've been able to find that there's quite a lot, for whatever reason. I don't know why this is the case, but uh, network cards are like dirt cheap on eBay. Um, so I think, yeah, that Michael called it right here. Yeah, pop in a generic Intel card. So there's the five. I think there's a 520 as well. But another one, which I think is Intel based, the card that I've seen referenced a lot is a Melanix Connect X3, and it's really actually hard to get and understand the details of the differences because there's like multiple variants of the X3. There's an X4, there's an X12, and all that stuff. Um, but that's what I was looking to grab. And those cards are like 30 bucks on eBay, 20, $30. They're used. So somebody has to be like these, and I wonder if this is the case actually too. So it's probably worth it to try it for 30 bucks and see if it works with buyer protection and whatnot, if you get something that's a piece of trash. But I'm pretty sure like the Melanix is a legitimate card. It's based on these same chipsets, and you can get a dual 10 GBE card with the optical connectors on it. And then and the other thing that I was looking at, and I just ordered this today. Let me make sure I don't have any sensitive information up on this, but so this is coming. I think it'll be here this weekend. So I bought a 24 port 2.5G or 26 port 2.5G switch to replace the 24 port 1 gig switch that I've been using for about the last year and a half. My former Asus switch had died, and I just bought a Netgear for like $100. And so I did some research on these. This is a brand called Sedola. They're all Satola. Yeah, I think they're all Chinese. There's like a variety of these available on eBay. Uh, some didn't even really have kind of names behind them. There's another one called Microtronics or something. But I found another YouTube channel. I think it was called Serve the Home, and that guy had some pretty good takes and looking at a bunch of these kind of like non-brand switches. I'm amazed that like at this point in time, Netgear, Asus, and like the kind of the normal networking brands, D-Link or whatever, don't have a product like this around this price point. So it's 24 2.5G ports and two 10G ports. So this is where it's pretty cool. And they're the fiber optical connectors. It's called the SPF or SFP plus connectors. And I don't need a manage. I don't. This is actually the managed one. We'll have to double check. I wasn't planning. Shoot, I wonder. Let's double check which one I bought. I wasn't specifically looking for a managed one. I don't think I need to bother with a managed one because I'm not really planning to do anything with the port management. I'm not making VLANs. I don't think I really need to be concerned about QoS, nor do I necessarily care about any link aggregation. So I do plan to connect both. I want to get a two port 10G card with the SPF plus SFP plus connectors for the NAS, and then I would plan to wire both of them between the NAS and the switch. But I don't think they need to be fully link aggregated because now if you link aggregate them and you double up the speed, you've got 20G and for one link, and nothing is going to go anywhere close to that. So, but the Synology will still let you bind the ports together so that the NAS presents a single IP address that everybody can access, but it'll take care of resolving two connections with two links, both at 10 gig speed. So that seemed like the wise way to go about doing it. And then this switch was like $300. The Sedola hadn't been in stock, but it popped up in stock today. I'll have to double check again if my order was actually for the managed one or an unmanaged one. They're actually the same price. Usually you pay more. Yeah, I did get the unmanaged one. It was 307 after the coupon, which is almost the same price as the managed one. But again, I don't feel I need managed because I don't care about aggregation. Yeah, Rob, Ubiquiti makes good. I should probably look at that. I know a lot of folks that use Ubiquiti as their brand. So I was also contemplating upgrading the router. Our router here, my router is an Asus, or no, sorry, it's a Netgear Nighthawk, whatever, from a couple years ago. So it's Wi-Fi 6, not Wi-Fi 6E, and we're starting to get Wi-Fi 6E devices. I wonder when Apple is going to go to Wi-Fi 7. I think we're going to have an Apple event here in 2 weeks or so, 2 weeks from today, with new iPads and stuff like that. And I wonder if those iPads will come with Wi-Fi 7. Netgear has a Wi-Fi 7 router, but it's like $600. The Wi-Fi 6E version will be is about half the price, but it has the 2.5G port on it. But I don't think I'll be also going to beyond 1 gig internet anytime soon. I've had the AT&T folks out where I could get 2 gig service and we could upgrade our internet speed, but they can't get the fiber into our house because we didn't pre-wire fiber cables. It's all copper, and we finished our basement, and so there's all these challenges. Like, forget it. I'll just stick with the 1G cable cable internet service on copper for right now and be fine with it. So the router doesn't necessarily need until something else changes. I don't really need more than a 1G link between the router and the switches, but I want to do a switch like this because then it gives me the two 10G ports for the NAS, and then every other port is 2.5G. And so as more devices come out, I think we'll see a lot more 2.5G networking on stuff this year and going forward. Kaleidoscape, of course, the Terra Prime is a 2.5G. I would expect all the future Kaleidoscape hardware would be 2.5G connections. And as I mentioned, the setups that I want for our laptops, actually, I was looking at probably something from Ugreen as well, like a nice dock, something like this, right? 13 ports. It's Thunderbolt 4 back to the laptop. It's HDMI, or this one doesn't actually have HDMI, but it's DisplayPort, so you can get a DisplayPort to HDMI cable, right? 4K 60, all that's fine. But the Ethernet ports on these are 2.5G. So we would be able to have both of our computers be 2.5G networked in the house. We would have a NAS with a bonded 10G connection. And then anything that we want to do interfacing with the NAS, moving files around, and all that should just be like super, super powered up. So that's what I'm working on the plan for right now. And Michael's saying Ubiquiti Pro Max 24, 449. So that's actually not much more than the Sedola, which probably makes the Ubiquiti a better buy. I'll have to look that up, I guess. I mean, it was an Amazon order. I could easily cancel it. But I definitely want the, I guess in some respects, I don't need the NAS to be 10G. I suppose I could buy the same card and it'll just clock itself down to 2.5. But I like the idea of the two fiber 10G connections going right straight to the NAS, and down where everything is situated. That my Where I keep my switch is on the back side, but right in the same spot of the um, AV rack down in the basement. So we're talking like a 3-foot cable to get from the NAS to the switch. And I like the idea of the 26 port one as well, because I'm kind of close to filling up 24 ports, and having 26 ports takes the NAS off of those ports, and just things tend to work out pretty good. Rob's saying they also have a router that supports 2 MAN ports. Well, I think I know what I'll be looking at. I'm looking at tonight a little more closely. Sammy's saying you can get two 2.5 SSP connectors and aggregate them. Yeah. Right. But if I go to 10, if I just go to 10 on the NAS, I don't need the aggregate because it's already fast. I'll just do the bonded channel, and then that's two fully discrete 10G connections available on the NAS. Reading the Synology documentation, you bond the channels directly in the Synology software disk station manager, and then it works to provide like dual speed to multiple things connected. And so the other element of control, and Dan actually just dropped this off. I put a picture of it up in the community post. The one I got doesn't look like this though, actually. I think it's just a slightly newer generation. But I've noticed that my gaming PC comes on all the time. I think it's actually running a lot of the day. And we're talking about a device that probably gets used, God, who even knows, once or twice a week at most, maybe, at best. So I'm tired of that thing running. And then I think the gaming PC works better when you go to use it and it's freshly booted. There's still sometimes in the past, historically, I've noted that when you turn the system on, you turn the TV on back there, and you wake the PC up from sleep, and the HDMI negotiates VRR, doesn't negotiate G-Sync. Not a huge difference, but still, the TV has the features, and I spent all this money for an NVIDIA graphics card. Right? Why not have it run its own native variable refresh rate feature? And then sometimes you don't get sound. Sometimes just PCs do screwy things that consoles don't do, and so you end up rebooting the computer anyway. I might as well just have it power on. So what I'm going to do, we already put it in. Dan dropped the switch off. I think nominally these are like $100 MSRP. He dropped the plug off. So I'm going to plug the outlet in. I'll plug my ground lifter protector. I forget the brand of that thing. I'll plug that into this, and then I'll plug the PC into that, and essentially program it in Control 4 so that if the PC is ever selected as a source device in the living room, then this switch will turn on. The PC in its BIOS it has the setting, right? What does the PC do if it loses power and power is restored? So you choose to have it go back to an on state. So select the living room, select the PC for the gaming. Select the gaming PC for the living room. Turns on the outlet. PC has power. The BIOS clean boots the PC after the TV's been turned on and the rest of the system is already on, and it should be fresh. It should be clean, no cruft. Sound will get renegotiated on the HDMI link. G-Sync will always be active because it'll be a brand new HDMI negotiation around that as well. And then when the room is turned off, boom, the switch will go and the PC will completely power down. Of course, I'll make sure that if I use the PC, I'll power it down itself, and then it'll be cleanly shut down. And then we turn the room off, and the outlet will cut the power, and then it'll truly be sleeping. No more phantom turn-ons and whatnot. I'm pretty sure. I know some folks I think replied into some comments like, "Do you have Wake on LAN set?" And I don't think I have any of that stuff on. It's just I think the PC is waking up more since I put the real high gain Bluetooth antennas on it, and I think it's picking up something, some residual wireless communication in the same frequency range. Um, so this will work quite well for that, and be curious to see if we find the power bill goes down in any tangible way for this PC just running hours of the day. Probably not in the end. It's probably more just for my own uh, satisfaction, and again the reliability of clean booting. I did for a while there. I had made the video before. I did the. I had like a wireless switch that I would press. And it's like, ah, that's stupid. Like, why? I have Control 4. I should just be using Control 4 rather than a third party or extra thing to do to try to wake up the PC. And then this switch didn't really have any feedback or whatever, or the wireless button for the switch. It was cheaper, like 15 bucks on Amazon. But again, this is 100 MSRP. Dan just did me a solid anyway. So it should work out pretty good. I haven't plugged it in yet. We dropped it in the config when he dropped the switch off, so that was available to be programmed. But I haven't done it yet. I'll probably get it programmed up this weekend. It should really only take me 15 minutes to get it set. Yeah, so that's coming. And then the other thing that I've been contemplating quite a bit here, again, is cameras. Well, we wired our house. It's like the missing part of my home automation and control and security element that 10 years on we never did. We've actually literally had cable kind of hanging out of the ceiling in some spots of the house and outside, which is the Ethernet line that was pulled for these cameras. We pulled up eight camera locations, 4 inside the house and 4 outside the house, and just never did it. Never bothered to kind of put them in. It always stayed lower in the list of technology and whatever that I've wanted to buy over the years, and it's like, no, I want to do this. And we've actually had a kind of scary, but there were articles written recently about this gang, like these gang break-ins and stuff that have been happening around my town and some of the surrounding area, where they were, let me pull this up specifically. They were breaking into high-end homes, multiple, just literally within these last few weeks. Yeah, multiple homes, several homes broken into, burglaries, high-end homes in Metro Detroit area, close to where we live. And it was basically, they believe it's like gang related from South America. So pretty wild. I don't believe anybody was like hurt and there wasn't any confrontations and whatnot, but it's like these professional serial break-ins and stuff been going on. Chilean gangs, cash, jewelry, whatever. One home specifically had $800,000 in jewelry stolen from it, quoting one of the local articles. So one of the Chilean groups was arrested for targeting retail stores and homes in Metro Detroit. So yeah, pretty wild. So I think it's time to step up the security a bit, and finally do these. So I've only just begun to look at these. Now you guys are saying, or Michael's saying you have Ubiquiti cameras as well. I wonder if the Ubiquiti cameras can work in Control 4. So I started talking with Dan about this, and his preference currently has been these Claire Vision, which is it's a Snap brand. So all kind of under the Snap Control 4 ish banner. So they have their own storage as well. So I was debating like, do we need an NVR? Should we just let it use the storage on the camera? But I haven't fully spec'd this out yet. So So this is something that I've only just begun to like tip of the iceberg, so to speak, in terms of picking stuff out. And I don't want to spend crazy money on it. Like it'd be nice to spend less than a couple thousand, or thereabouts. I don't want to spend like five or six. I don't want to buy cameras that are like $600 a piece or anything like that, especially if we do all eight locations. So at a minimum, definitely doing all four outside. Um, but I was debating whether like inside, outside. So if anybody has cameras covering their house, uh, I'm curious. To either chat now or if you're watching this after the fact in the comments. Did you secure your home with cameras on the exterior only, or did you do the interior as well? So we were talking about that a little at dinner tonight, and the merits versus and some members of the household didn't like the idea of there being cameras inside. Like, oh, it's like creepy. I'm going to be on camera all day long or whatever. But it's like that's not like I'm putting. We're not going to put them in your bedroom. We're not going to put them in a private spot or whatever. But the main floor by the front door and the back door, the basement, which would be like in the main basement area. But if somebody did break in through the egress window, we would be able to put the camera in the path where they would have to come through to get out of the room that has the egress window. And then I have so that's seven, four outside, two on the main floor, one in the basement, and then one on our second floor that would have a nice view of like the long hallway where all of our bedrooms and all of the upstairs rooms kind of connect in. So it seems wise to me to go ahead and do the inside as well, just in case we're gone and there is a break in, right? The more footage you have, and I think some of these do audio now, and it's like camera technology seemed to have come a huge way versus if we had done it like any technology. If we had done it 10 years ago, the yeah, like Michael's saying, the like motion detection is getting really good. They have like color at night. um, and in audio, they'll record audio as well. So a lot in a lot of different form factors and stuff like that. So pretty neat. I think we probably will also look for a doorbell cam so we can have that direct view and have the ability to interact with somebody. um, and again, if it can get all unified through Control 4, we'll see. So let's see. Mitchell's saying that talking about the Ubiquiti cameras, yeah, they need a driver to work. You have Unify and Control 4. I can see cameras in my touchscreen app and they pop up. Yeah, that's the other thing I would like. I would like to be able to see the cameras on the Apple TVs too. So yeah, looks like you use RTSP streaming off the cameras into Control 4. Mitchell did both. Cover windows on the first floor from the inside with cameras. Yep. So that, yeah, I feel if we're gonna do it, and a lot like if we do it and we do the NVR, that's 8 channels, which is there's a good channel count that matches up. Like it's not, we don't have to buy a ton. Eight's a good number, and we're not wasting any. So like we did 6 cameras, but you buy an 8-channel NVR and you're not using 2 of the channels. So it seemed like it matched up. The numbers matched up pretty good, and I think we planned it that way from the beginning, kind of anyway. Julia says Ring cameras outside the house only. Yeah, Michael. Yeah, I know, Mike. Like this is all your wheelhouse, Michael. So probably we can chat offline some more about these plans and ideas and some of the Best Buy and stuff like that. So Sammy's saying I have inside and so 3 inside, 3 outside, 2 inside, 2 motion detectors, and an extra camera. We don't really use in the theater. And we do have motion detectors outside. We did end up that are Control 4 connected. I haven't had them like programmed and operational in the system for probably a long time. They probably have like acid leaked batteries in them and whatnot. But at the time we would use them. I was anticipating using them to say like certain programming things, right? If it's nighttime and it senses motion, turn the lights on the porch, stuff like that. But when when we get these cameras, and then the cameras have motion detection and their Control 4 enabled, not just for the video feed, but the camera would be able, we would be able to key the programming off in certain ways that when they turn, if they detect the right thing, then we can trigger lights on and stuff like that. And it sounds like Michael was saying too, like the detection capabilities of these cameras nowadays is really strong. Detecting people accurately, detecting cars for the one that would be on the garage, looking over the driveway, basically. So 4 outside would cover our front porch, front door, back porch, back door in the backyard. One kind of looking down. We're on a corner lot, so it's dubious to say what's the front and what's the back of the house, but one kind of what would be the back side of the house, where the egress window is. So if somebody were to try to come in through that way, we would catch them there, and then we would be able to catch them in the basement. And then the other one would be looking at the driveway. So yeah, this too. So AI cameras, like computer vision stuff, being able to catch license plates and that. Although in Michigan, you're not required to have a front plate on a car. You only required to have a rear plate. So if somebody just pulls into the driveway, we wouldn't get a plate read. But if we can get at least make and model, color, and stuff like that of the car, because it has color cameras at night, it's all pretty cool. So yeah, Michael saying get a doorbell with package detection. What do you mean by package detection? Um, like computer vision to identify that a box has been left or something like that. So I got a whole bunch of stuff to learn about this. So I'm just starting to figure stuff out. Julia is saying, yeah, trying to wait on Ring getting to 4K. They're stuck at 1080p. I think these Claire Visions are a little bit higher. They might be 4K. Well, here, yeah, 2048 by 1536 on some of them. Yeah, 2560 by 1440. So higher resolution, higher than 1080p, but not quite 4K. IR night vision. Yeah, this one doesn't support PoE, but I presume that we would do, or Dan, of course, would spec it for that they'd run power over Ethernet. I want them all wired. So that's the other thing that I need to buy here as well, is an 8 port plus an uplink so that I can wire it to the other switch. And if we do all 8 cameras, I need 8 PoE connections for that as well. Mr. Mitchell saying unify or a network-based NVR, give you room to expand. Yep, limit is only the hard drive. Yeah, I want to get a better idea too of like what's the difference between using just the included storage, because a lot of these cameras include SD cards built in to be able to record onto the camera itself versus the NVR. You get better performance, you get longer period of recording history, I'm sure. I don't know what the other benefits maybe of what the NVR might be. Yeah, Unify and SynDev drivers working well in Control 4. Only thing missing at this time is two-way comms to the doorbell. They say it's coming. Rob saying Reolink, not a bad option for 4K cameras. App isn't as good as Ring. There was another brand that Dan was, I'm going to forget what it was now. He mentioned 2 brands. Claire Vision was one. There was another one that he said it was more expensive, maybe more premium in some respects, but he felt it had an inferior app. So, because I think you'll end up doing with the cameras, you probably do both things. Like there'll be certain functions and features and times where you access the cameras and program and do things with them in Control 4. But for just like general camera access, you probably won't always use the Control 4 app, or like the Control 4 app won't show necessarily history or be able to pull up events that the camera may have logged. It's kind of like the live feed will be in Control 4. But if you want to do more, see the history, then you use the app of the camera maker. And Dan had mentioned that he preferred the Claire app quite a bit over the other option that he had been using. So I'm pretty sure this is the right brand. Like, it's a Snap brand, but Claire, CLARE was the brand. Was the brand that he was talking about. So, and when we just had a cursory conversation about it, but we'll be doing talking about this more and probably getting it done in short order. So, another topic to talk about on the channel, and probably even maybe have Dan on in a future podcast and talk a little, maybe dig into this as a topic with him specifically, automation elements and related to security and whatnot. So Mitchell's saying, yeah, Claire doesn't seem to detect package from what I see on the screen. But wouldn't it? I guess if somebody brought a package to your doorstep, the camera would catch the person and then record that moment, and conceivably anything that they left behind. So, but I'll definitely check out what the ins and outs of what package detection means. Let's see. A lot of comments on this. One conversation, definitely. Again, learning as I go, because I've been looking at networking more than the cameras. The cameras came up into my mind specifically more recently because of this craziness going on around us here. Rob saying, wired all cameras for power reading for that at my new house. 18. Wow. That's full coverage. Julia's saying, it's check and ring yesterday for 4K, but no go. Yeah, but you can do everything you've talked about tonight. Yeah. Well, probably the networking plus the cameras, maybe a little more, especially for 8 cams. And if we do go with the NVR, yeah, that UI could use some work. Yeah, this one, I feel like I might be looking at the wrong thing. Because Dan, when he was here, he pulled up, he has the stuff installed at his house, and he pulled up. Yeah, this might be the wrong one. Maybe there's a difference between Claire, but it's odd that there would be Claire. It's CLARE, but it's Claire Vision. Maybe Claire Vision is different from what I was looking at. But he showed me his app and a bunch of stuff that he had available in it. It looked pretty solid. So yeah, color at night, easy to use app. Value series, built-in SD cards, motion detection, etc. So yeah, I got more. Not really a lot of links here. I got more research to do, basically. Rob saying found the ring interface was really good, nice. Yeah, Travis, hard to move to Ugreen from Synology. I do have to agree. I think they have a great platform that's getting started. I think they have a great basis of hardware that's really well spec'd and seems to be very solidly made. There are use cases that I do with my Synology that I could not do with a Ugreen right now. So I'm going to continue to build up my Synology with the upgrades and the network card and stuff like that, and then we'll see where things go in the future. I had been wondering as well about, like, well, should maybe the Synology should be the NVR, and rather than buying one, right? If it can just serve the purpose, I've got plenty of space. I've got like 40 some gig of space in that NAS right now, and I only use 10 of it. Although I would imagine if you use the Synology as a recorder, I probably would just put in a separate drive and not use the array, not use my data array as the recording volume, because it feels like that would constantly be writing to that volume that we want to be using for other files and access and whatnot. But I have 3 open bays right now, so it would be real simple to toss a 4 terabyte hard drive in there and just use be able to use that as a second volume in a singular drive. It doesn't need to be rated or mirrored or anything like that. Just one drive. It doesn't need a failover. Um, and just use the Synology for that, but on a separate drive, and do that for $100 instead of whatever several hundred for the NVR. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, maybe 500 with the doorbell cam, or 2,500. Yep. So it'll take a chunk of the kind of money that I've been pooling up, but we're talking about something too that's not just theater gear. This is the technology purchase for family security, and again, kind of like beefing up core elements, core infrastructure of my system that everybody in the household is using, but also sets it up for a future upgrade. Who knows? Maybe I will end up with a new Kaleidoscape hardware at some point, and then that'll be 2.5G, and what other home theater applications might come um, to faster networking around extra devices. So that's my thought. Um, that's my thought along those lines. But yeah, so when we wrap up here, I'll definitely go take a look at closer look at Ubiquity, and then continue chatting with Dan here probably into the end of the week and into the beginning of next week. But I'd like to, in fairly short order, I would like to give him the go ahead to get the purchase going, get the equipment here, get over here, get it set up, and really start and be kind of all set with that. So yeah, so that's the main stuff that I want to talk about. I have more topics because I'm gonna hang out a little bit longer. One of the other things that was pretty cool, not this week, I think it was last week, was I was invited by a local contact uh, at a distribution company. So we actually have a speaker manufacturer in Michigan. Oh, I should have had the tabs pulled up for this. I didn't. This is a little more core home theater. Um, but yeah, we actually have a speaker manufacturer in Michigan. So Leon Speakers. Anybody ever heard of Leon Speakers? I hadn't until I went there. Um, but they're making some cool stuff. This place is these guys are in Ann Arbor, and they did essentially like a press event, or not a press event, sorry, a dealer event. Um, a variety. They did two sessions actually, and they had probably a good 20 people in the afternoon session that I went to. It took a half day, and went to the afternoon session. Probably the morning session is equally attended and whatnot. But they were kind of promoting the brand, promoting things that they make and whatnot. So their fabrication and design facility is all right there in Ann Arbor. So it was my first chance to visit a real speaker maker and they took us on a factory tour and all this stuff. It's pretty neat. So they make some really custom stuff. They kind of focus a little bit on sound bars, but they do build their speakers into other types of enclosures. But one of their key selling points is it's all handcrafted. It's all like real wood, uh, clean and American made, and et cetera, et cetera. But they do some cool stuff with encapsulation. So they make sound bars, but they make these frame bar components that all this stuff gets built. This is you can get again real wood finishes and whatnot, finished and stained and everything, and you can get these really nice clean installs. And they're building into this like TV framing thing, and so they're partnering with Sony on some of this. This one mentions Samsung, but it's the studio frame. This is specifically built for like Sony TVs, and now the Sony TVs have like a frame art feature. I think might have been starting with last year's models. It's pretty neat. So they license like artwork from well-known professional pieces of art and photography elements and other things like that. So when your Sony TV goes off, or it goes into standby mode, it can go into this display mode, and then you can actually there's a lot of configuration to it. You can have it change the pictures, whatever. You can actually have it like matte the image. So this is like a digital matte, and it really makes it it was, and then framed and like this, it really makes it look like a piece of art. So they really great profiles on this stuff and like really slim installs. So they're only supporting like certain TV models from Sony and sizes, but I would fully expect them to kind of uh, dial this up quite a bit going forward. So that was pretty cool. Got to talk to the CEO for a while, some of their marketing folks. I like meeting with real like visionary people that are doing interesting things, and so he's a pretty dynamic guy doing this business for a long time, and then he's a part owner in a brewery right in the area, and he had big plans for production and business and industry and whatnot over in Ann Arbor. So it's pretty cool, pretty neat. But Sony talked about the new TVs. Unfortunately, the last time I went to one of these types of events, they actually had all the televisions, all of the 2023 televisions last year. They didn't bring the TVs to this event, but they talked about the Bravia 9s. This was on the day specifically last Wednesday, I think it was, when the 2024 Bravia 9s were, or the 2024 Sony TV lineup was publicly announced. And so FOMO and Brian's Tech Therapy, like all those guys had gone out to a private event ahead of time in order to get introduced to the new models, film all their role and whatnot, and have their videos ready to publish. So this is leading me into more conversation. I don't want to get too far into this tonight, but um, I didn't feel any need or draw to wanting to upgrade living room television last year, but and the sets this year are kind of, it's definitely pulling some of my mindset. Hence the idea I've got too many competing. I'm listing up or building up too many competing priorities. I want to do this other tech stuff all around, which I really am trying to prioritize because it's more than just a new TV. It's like home security and stuff like that. Still got the projector hanging out there. The idea or something related to improving that downstairs, but yeah, like I think it's going to be a battle. The G4 against the Bravia 9, OLED versus LED, and and pros and cons of each one. The Bravia 9 is $1,000 cheaper MSRP, but hey, it's still an LED. It's not an OLED, but um, the technology that they packed into the Bravia 9 is just looking crazy. Like the number of dimming zones, right? Is it going to be almost OLED-like in its performance? Crazy bright. Um, but then the G4 now in 83 has the MLA, has like some of the other features. It's getting brighter. Yeah, it's like what, I forget what the prices are now. Is it 5,500? I think it's 5,500 for the 83, or no, for the 85 Bravia 9 and 65 for the 83 G4. So we'll see. But it would be cool. I would love to be able to cover like this studio frame thing. So we'll see what happens. I'm waiting for some feedback, but it's like, hey guys, like the Sony reps and stuff are there. It's like we could do some cool stuff on the channel. I'd love to check out the 9. Love to have a frame, built around it, and you can show it all off and kind of explain the process and what the stuff does coming up. But yeah, we'll see. So I'm thinking a little more about TVs than I was certainly at the start of the year. Mitchell's and soundbars are the reason why Atmos is not an emphasis. Too many people. Yeah, the soundbar. A lot of people have soundbars because soundbars make sense for a lot of people. I think ultimately. But if you're going to do it right, try to do it as nicely performance wise and integrated wise as you can. Michael saying, "Oh, Audio Device sells them. Been planning on a Leon. Cool. I didn't realize that they had them. I'll have to check that out." Julius, well, hey, if you're buying a Leon, buy it from Audio Device. Use my links. Julius, think you'll get the SVS Evolution Pinnacle Tower? I don't know. I probably could reach out to them, given the positive engagement and whatnot relationship that got started around getting the SB16s and the subwoofers. My problem is if I did that, I definitely wouldn't keep them for anything because both of my setups are architectural now. So it's not something that I would want to It's not something that I would want to keep longer term. It would be just for review. At a minimum, though, I'm sure that they will be at Audio Advice Live. And as of now, I am planning to attend Audio Advice Live. Unfortunately, I won't be able to make M Wave, but I'd very much like to. But I do plan to go to Audio Advice Live, and I would expect that they'll be there. Well, it looks like they might not. I mean, Audio Advice carrying the Leons. They did 2 years ago when I was looking at them. Yeah, it seemed like Leon been around for quite a while, but they've really pushed their product lines forward quite a bit in these last couple years, stepping up their game and doing more neat stuff. But it was cool. It was cool just to go and kind of do the factory tour and learn about the brand and whatnot, all that stuff. Travis asked, "Were you able to move the Arendals?" Yeah, I sold both of them locally to a kid that came and bought them, picked them up. Easy local sale, and it worked out well. Pretty much. Geez, when was that? That was before the end of the year, back in December, actually, because I bought all four. I bought all four. I had all four SB16s before the new year. That was all my business plan for last year. Yeah, nice. No, yeah, I love it. No shipping. I definitely was not looking forward to boxing those things back up and getting them to UPS or whatever, or having to worry about like freight and pallets and anything like that. So I was really trying to focus on a pickup sale first, and was able to get it. So very happy about that. Cool. I think we'll probably wrap it up. Anybody have any last questions? Any topics and what anything like that? Of course, stay tuned to the channel. Like I got more stuff coming. One of the other things that I've been playing around with, and I quite like a lot, is the NVIDIA app on the gaming PC. Is awesome. NVIDIA is really stepping up their software game, so I need to spin out a video on that kind of late. But the RTX HDR, I think, really kills Microsoft's Windows Auto HDR for games. So super happy about that. Definitely need to make that video again. Get some time set up with to do the HDR tone mapping comparison and check that out, and then yeah, more on the home infrastructure networking concepts, and definitely dig into that quite a bit as we make decisions about brands and interfacing different systems and Control 4 and all that stuff. So that'll be the focus coming up here the next few weeks, and then still working on still finalizing as well whether the madVR is going to stay or not. So working on that in the background too. Michael saying, I have a game room, need 2 larger TVs for. Has anyone seen TCL or Hisense displays? I think those both fall in the secondary tier. Fundamentally, my take is that I don't think you can go wrong with either one for that purpose. Maybe like certain features and operating system and built-in apps, although you might be putting Apple TVs on all of them anyway, so the TV UIs may not matter. But yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting TV or hot TV. Or I still am holding out on my hope and thought, something else to put on the list of things to spend money on is still rebuilding this wall in here and opening it up for a 98-inch TV. But I have to say, like at this point, I don't think I would opt for a 98-inch television. Sony only continues to offer the X93L, I think it is. Or like last year's 98 is this year's 98, and picture quality wise is going to be like 2 levels down. Technically, I think that set falls in the Bravia 7 category with their new naming conventions, and I'm generally a proponent of larger sizes when it comes to televisions, but in this case, I don't think anything else in the lineup will compete with the 9, the picture that the 9 is going to put out. And I have to believe right now anyway that I would take an 85-inch 9 over a 98-inch 7 effectively, or a model year old 7. Um, so unless I could get to like a 97-inch G4, because they are doing that this year. There was a 97-inch G2, and then it stayed, but I believe that this year there is a 97-inch G4. But I think the MSRP went up from like 25 to 20 to 30K now, and that's just nuts. So let's say I can get some wild accommodation or something like that, but who knows? So I'll stay in the 80. I'll stay in the 80-inch range based on price, because of wanting to buy the top line television for performance. So super chat or super chat. Sorry, from Mitchell 245. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Yeah, Rob saying he has both TCL and Hisense TVs, essentially the same, maybe some of the same guts inside. Travis asking any new shows. We talked about this a little bit at the beginning, so you can rewind a bit. But lately, it's been all for me. It's all X-Men '97. X-Men '97 is insanely good Marvel content, and just continues to knock it out of the park week after week. That's what I'm looking forward to at the end of the night, Wednesday night. I think we got 3 or 4 episodes left, something like that. That's pretty awesome. I started Monarch, but I kind of fell asleep in the first episode, so I kind of have to restart it. Family, we're finishing up Lego Masters, and then we watched a couple movies lately. Kung Fu Panda 4, thanks to the early release availability on Kaleidoscape, and then entering our march through the Marvel Cinematic Universe with the kids. So we did Hulk the other night. Incredible Hulk. Cool. Yeah, I think that's all the comments. I'm gonna go research some Ubiquiti networking hardware and maybe rewatch the first episode of Monarch. Try and stay awake this time. I guess the other thing I've still been really drawn into lately has been wrestling. WWE wrestling is like coming out of WrestleMania, and then we went to the SmackDown show. That was a couple Fridays ago. I'm really digging professional wrestling right now. It's at a real high point. If you're any kind of like legacy or lapsed wrestling fan, you might want to check in with the WWE since WrestleMania. Cool. Well, I appreciate everybody coming out, hanging out, chatting through some of this stuff. It's a process underway to get some of our computer and network infrastructure kind of upgraded, and just as fun in some ways as the home theater stuff. But I'm so happy. I actually made the video, and it didn't come out exactly what I was trying to say, but like in many ways, like how content I am with the theater. And it's easy to say that because all of the stuff that I've been able to put into the theater. But like, even if I don't get a projector upgrade anytime soon, and like everything's just working so well in there. Yeah, Robbie, are you still? So like the common comment about everything, right, is I put this in, I put in the AVM 90, I got these NAD amps. Like, do you still like all this stuff? And it's like it's all just performing excellently. The subs included. So anymore, I'm not even anywhere near tapping the potential of the 4 SB16. So like, I could get 18 inchers or work my way towards per listen subs and or 18-inch rhythmics, or whatever it might be, JTRs. I forget the name of their 18 or whatever, but like all I'm probably doing is adding headroom potential that I don't even access. But yeah, the theater, every time I use it, I dig it. We still don't go down there anywhere near the amount that might like to, or that they think we would, for having built the space and upgraded the space to what it is. But that's just life. So it is what it is. But yeah, I'm super content, and like so other things are starting to percolate as a focus and a goal, like the infrastructure, like the networks. Yeah, that's what I was trying to recall, the captivators. So in time, I'm sure that there'll be more upgrades coming. But if I can get the uh, get something nice to hold on to the get a nice arrangement, whatever it might be, to hold on to the madVR and um, at a minimum, maybe don't even need an NZ9. Just even be happy with an NZ7. I probably wouldn't use the color filter anyway because I would just want the brightness. And I don't know. I would really, like I said in the beginning, I would very much like to test the madVR and Motion AI on a 48/120 hertz capable projector. I could do it on the TV just to see a little bit more about how it works with the even cadence frame rates and stuff like that. But I don't think it would still give the same impression of using it in the theater. So we'll see where we go. But and I've got a whole bunch of other like contacts and um, conversations going on to try out various things actually in the background. We'll see what happens, but definitely stay tuned. There'll be some more fun stuff coming. Hopefully, more learning for myself, and then sharing that information through the channel to help folks learn about elements of their tech and home theater and make some good decisions, apply it to what you're doing and all that stuff. So having a lot of fun in that route. So I'm going to call it a night. My voice, hour and a half. My voice is starting. It's going to start to feel my voice cracking, and go chill for a little bit for another work day and on into the weekend. So thanks so much, everybody. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for hanging out. The discussions. Thanks, Mitchell, for the super chat. And hopefully we'll be back and not 3 weeks, but I'd really like to get on a cadence of at least every 2 weeks for these. It's just tough. A lot of times it ends up being a choice of like family time or cutting off family time versus doing this instead. And yeah, I'm increasingly opting to make sure to do the family time. So I need to get on some kind of a plan where I can get these done more regularly, get engaged more regularly with the podcast, but do it at a time where it doesn't take something away from other stuff going on. But such is life. And but anyway, thanks everybody for coming out. Come on back for more home theater discussion and fun. Have a great night.